Hence, all stand and remain standing until the conclusion of the reading of the proclamation. Ladies and gentlemen, the proclamation. All persons having any business before this honorable court, please draw nigh. Give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Justine Bree Adkins.
May it please the court, I move that Justine Adkins be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Justine Bree Adkins be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Noah Patrick Albany.
May it please this court, I move that Noah Patrick Albany be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Noah Patrick Albany be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Saif Al-Mamani.
May it please the court, I move that Saif Al-Mamani be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Saif Al-Mamani be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emre Alpa.
May it please the court, I move that Emre Alpa be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Emre Alpa be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Temelesi Vuki Vuki Buatoka.
May it please the court, I move that Temelesi Vuki Vuki Buatoka be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Temelesi Bere Vuki Vuka Buatoka be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sherman Sulan Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Sherman Suilan Cheng be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Sherman Suri Lan Cheng be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jemima June Cooper.
May it please the court, I move that Jemima June Cooper be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jemima June Cooper be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jonathan Dye.
May it please the court, I move that Jonathan Day be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jonathan Day be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jack Samuel Day.
May it please the court, I move that Jack Samuel Day be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jack Samuel Day be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabella Rose Diaz.
May it please the court, I move that Isabella Rose Diaz be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Isabella Rose Diaz be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gregory Charles Thomas Doyle.
May it please the court, I move that Gregory Charles Thomas Doyle be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Gregory Charles Thomas Doyle be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Candice Fairs.
May it please the court, I move that Candice Fairs be admitted as lawyer of this honourable court.
That Candice Fairs be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Timothy McCleary Finn.
May it please the court, I move that Timothy McCleary Finn be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Timothy McCleary Finn be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Raina Wolfstap Gaunt.
May it please the court, I move that Raina Wolf Stapp Gaunt be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Raina Wolf Stapp Gaunt be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emily Julie Hales.
May it please the court, I move Emily Julie Hales be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Emily Julie Hales be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Manuela Harwell.
May it please the court, I move that my sister Manuela Harwell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Manuela Harwell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Crystal Lee Johnson.
May it please the court, I move that Crystal Lee Johnson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Crystal Lee Johnson be admitted as a lawyer of the court.
Timothy Bruce Jones.
May it please the court, I move that Timothy Bruce Jones be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Timothy Bruce Jones be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Simran Kaur.
May it please the court, I move that Simran Kaur be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Simran Kaur be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tyrone Jai Kelly.
May it please the court, I move that Tyrone Jai Kelly be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tyrone Jai Kelly be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlyn Rose Kendall.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlyn Rose Kendall be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Caitlyn Rose Kendall be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicholas Harry Kyriakoutis.
May it please the court, I move that my son, Nicholas Harry Kyriakoutis, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicholas Harry Kyriakoutis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kimberly Wakey Lam Wong.
May it please the court, I move that Kimberly Wakey Lam Wong be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kimberly Wakey Lam Wong be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tai Jin Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Taejing Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Taejing Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marriott Edwina Lewis.
May it please the court, I move that Marriott Edwina Lewis be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
Let Marriott Edwina Lewis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Richard Roger Marshall.
May it please the court, I move that my son, Richard Roger Marshall, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Richard Roger Marshall be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brian Victor Masson.
May it please the court, I move that Brian Victor Masson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brian Victor Masson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jacob Joseph Musa.
May it please the court, I move that Jacob Musa be admitted as a lawyer in this honourable court.
Let Jacob Joseph Musa be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Robert Murray.
May it please the court, I move that Christopher Robert Murray be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Christopher Robert Murray be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Hannah Lucy Marusti.
May it please the court, I move that Hannah Lucy Marusti be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Hannah Lucy Marusti be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Edward von Schustoff Nalbandian.
May it please the court, I move that Edward von Schustov Nalbandian be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Edward von Schustov Nalbandian be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zenab Naya.
May it please the court, I move that Zainab Naya be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zainab Naya be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Pan Odibus.
May it please the court, I move that John Odabash be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let John Odibus be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amy Louise O'Day.
May it please the court, I move that Amy Louise O'Day be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amy Louise O'Day be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jessica Siobhan Orchard.
May it please the court, I move that Jessica Siobhan Orchard be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jessica Siobhan Orchard be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Claire Rose Penlington.
May it please the court, I move that Claire Rose Pennington be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Claire Rose Penlington be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tianchi Ren.
May it please the court, I move that Tianchi Ren be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Tianchi Ren be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Campbell Georgia Flavin Rice.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter, Campbell Georgia Flavin Rice, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Campbell Georgia Flavin Rice be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emily Madeline Sambell.
May it please the court, I move that Emily Madeline Sambell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Emily Madeline Sambell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anne-Marie Sarkis.
May it please the court, I move that Anne-Marie Sarkis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anne-Marie Sarkis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brent Joel Cicluna.
May it please the court, I move that Brent Joel Cicluna be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brent Joel Cicluna be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anastasia Sklar.
May it please the court, I move that Anastasia Sklar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anastasia Sklar be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amy Charlotte Ann Stenning.
May it please the court, I move that Amy Charlotte Ann Stenning be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Amy Charlotte Ann Stenning be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shania Louise Thomas.
May it please the court, I move that Shania Louise Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shania Louise Thomas be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Grace Gabrielle Wade.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Grace Gabrielle Wade be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Grace Gabrielle Wade be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Min Hao Wang.
May it please the court, I move that Ming Hao Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ming Hao Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Stella Xuan Shi.
May it please the court, I move that Stella Xuan Zi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Stella Xuan Zi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zidi Zhu.
May it please the court, I move that Zidi Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zidi Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Will now be necessary for those applicants whose admission has just been moved to stand as directed and remain standing for the purposes of swearing an oath or making a declaration and affirmation. So please stand as directed by the officiating officer.
Would the first two rows to my right please stand? Justine Bree Adkins, Noah Patrick Albany, Seth Al-Mamani, Emery Alpa, Temalasi Vea Vuki Vuki Buatoka, Sherman Seelan Cheng, Jemima June Cooper, Jonathan Day, Jack Samuel Day, Isabella Rose Diaz, Gregory Charles Thomas Doyle, Candice Fairs, Timothy McCleary Finn, Raina Wolfstapp Gaunt, Emily Julie Hales, Manuela Harwell. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Would you please be seated? Would the third and fourth row please stand? Crystal Lee Johnson, Timothy Bruce Jones, Simran Kaur, Tyrone Jai Kelly, Caitlyn Rose Kendall, Nicholas Harry Kiriakudis, Kimberly Wai Ki Lam Wong, Tai Jin Lee, Mariette Edwina Lewis, Richard Roger Marshall, Brian Victor Masson, Jacob Joseph Musa, Christopher Robert Murray, Hannah Lucy Marusti, Edward von Schustoff Nalbandian, Zenab Naya, Can Odebash, Amy Louise O'Day, Jessica Siobhan Orchard. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Would you please be seated? Would the two rows to my left please stand? Claire Rose Penlington, Tianchi Wren, Campbell Georgia Flavin Rice, Emily Madeline Sambell, Anne-Marie Sarkis, Brent Joel Cicluna, Anastasia Sklar, Amy Charlotte Stenning, Shania Louise Thomas, Grace Gabrielle Wade, Min Hao Wang, Stella Juan Z, Zidi Zhu. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state, according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"? So help me God. Would you please be seated?
Well, may I warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench this afternoon is to my right, to my left rather, Justice Rees, and to my right, Justice Richmond, both judges of the Equity Division of the Court, and together we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice this afternoon. We've done so sitting on the land for which the Gadigal of the Eora Nation have cared and been custodians for thousands of years, and the Court, of course, pays its sincere respects to the Gadigal elders past and present, and extends those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. To all the newly admitted lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is a very important one for celebration and reflection. You have all worked, we know, extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, obscure problem questions, wafer-thin pages of textbook, or screen after screen after screen of statutes and cases. And for most of you, your journey has involved these past two extraordinarily challenging years affected by the pandemic, and in which you may have been deprived of many of the opportunities for the forging of close bonds with your peers that those final years of study usually present. You've faced and come through an additional adversity unprecedented in our lifetimes, and that makes your achievement recognised today all the more significant and impressive, and it means that the resilience you no doubt will have developed over that period will stand you all in good stead into the future. In being admitted as a lawyer today, you join an honourable and ancient profession with the custom of advocates swearing an oath on admission to practice dating back as far as the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers in 1824, almost 200 years ago, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, as indeed you will do immediately after this ceremony. I'm also pleased to welcome to the court today those with you or watching on the live stream. For many of you, the support of your family and friends will have been invaluable as you completed your legal studies and moved into the profession. No doubt they have also been on the receiving end of your finely polished or developing skills of argument and persuasion, and I encourage you to take the time to thank them today. Depending on how good an advocate you are or have become, you may be even able to convince them to take you for drinks or a dinner. The law touches every facet of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths. But in whatever direction you head, you must always remember that the oath or affirmation you have just made is a serious one and should be held in and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre for legal aid, in a Crown Law office, a government department, the Aboriginal Legal Service, or in an entirely different field. You should be known for your honesty, for your integrity, and your commitment to justice, and you must strive at all times to uphold these crucially important values. Admission as a member of the legal profession is a privilege, it is not a right. It is in acknowledgement of the weighty responsibility that we observe the unique formalities associated with this ceremony, including the fact that your admission has been moved by someone who is already a senior member of the profession, and that you have made a formal oath or affirmation in the presence of your family and peers. They are all witnesses to the promises and undertakings you have made today. As for formality, you can see by looking at some of the portraits of former Chief Justices on the walls of this court that we are wearing the same robes, in some cases literally, as have been worn by our predecessors. There's a symbolic reason for that. It highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales, although the judges wearing the robes are now drawn from an increasingly diverse pool. As to continuity of the rule of law, in a world in which there is so much global uncertainty and insecurity, the rule of law is more important than ever, not simply a phrase of some theoretical import. The rule of law is the opposite of the arbitrary abuse of power and the rule of autocratic dictators and populists. We know, unfortunately, from looking around the world, that there is nothing theoretical about those phenomena. Although we mark this occasion with the formality and tradition of which I've spoken, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. The pandemic, for example, meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure that access to justice was maintained in the midst of the pandemic, notwithstanding the challenges that posed. And technology has delivered greater workplace flexibility, which is especially important for lawyers with family responsibilities or caring responsibilities, and has also had profound implications for how our legal system interacts and may become more accessible to many people, including those in rural or remote areas. But although the increased use of technology offers a number of advantages, the practice of the law has human nature and human interaction and human relationships at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, how others react to different situations, how they perform under pressure, how they relate to each other, and how they deal with each other. And as I said in my own swearing-in speech as Chief Justice 6 months ago, whilst the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable, in my opinion, at least. There are, of course, other changes in the legal profession that deserve attention in addition to those brought about by the pandemic. When we think about the diversity of the legal profession, there is a duality. We have come quite a long distance, but there is still a distance to travel. Take, for example, gender diversity. Although women were originally not even permitted to practice law in New South Wales, since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently constitute 2/3 of solicitors under the age of 30. Since 2014, half of the appointments to the Supreme Court have been female, and the local court, the busiest court in the country, the local court of New South Wales, has gender parity amongst its magistrates. And of course, women now occupy some of the highest offices, legal offices in the land, including the Chief Justice of the High Court, the Chief Justices of Victoria, Queensland and the ACT, the federal and state directors of public prosecutions, the Director of Legal Aid and Senior Public Defender, as well as the President of the New South Wales Court of Appeal. But there should also be strong representation beyond gender diversity, strong representation of lawyers from the many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, at the bar and amongst judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system can, and importantly feel that they can, be properly heard, understood and fairly engaged with by a legal system, a judicial system and broader legal system which is reflective of our broader community. And the admissions ceremonies on which I have sat since becoming a judge almost 4 years ago, including this ceremony, highlights that there is a far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice. That is a very good thing, and leaders of the profession and of the courts are working hard to foster inclusiveness and diversity in the profession. You, the newly admitted lawyers, enter the profession at a time when I suspect more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate, as you should do, to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unfair laws, systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable, or unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment, bullying and the like. It is part of the honourable tradition of being a courageous lawyer that you speak up whenever you see injustice. I would also urge you, as you embark on your careers, to think beyond your immediate professional obligations and try and make time to engage in the wider community. Your training as a lawyer in systematic thought, in the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you all very well for service beyond day-to-day practice and in the wider community and in our community organisations. You will also derive great satisfaction from such extracurricular engagement. My view is that lawyers have a particular set of skills and should be attuned to where they can deploy their skills in the interests of the broader community beyond simply day-to-day practice. Now, turning from opportunities to obligations and a little bit of friendly advice, I hope. As a lawyer, you'll often need to make difficult ethical decisions, sometimes extremely difficult ethical decisions. You must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and to the administration of justice. One mistake you must not make is to fall into the trap of giving your clients the advice you think they want to hear. I can assure you that that will not be good advice. Justice Gageler of the High Court once said, and I quote, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." Being a lawyer means that you are now an advisor, a problem solver, sometimes a mediator, and an advocate. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but law as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer will frequently be an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge or crisis affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, family relations, health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive when delivering legal services to do so sensitively with courtesy, integrity and empathy. And in that context, I also wish to emphasise the importance of the old-fashioned but important concept of civility. Aspects of the law, especially if you are involved in litigation, the litigation side of practice are by definition confrontational. But the practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load, so that it's essential that you maintain your detachment, balance and good humour, remembering at all times that you are members of a profession and not a business. And remember this too, the best advocates can and do make their point simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges, excepting my two colleagues, of course, could also use that reminder from time to time. For a non-lawyer, the law is often incomprehensible. And one of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering unavoidable legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, or explaining the procedure by which justice is administered in this state and in this country. Strive to be clear and concise at all times in both your writing and your speaking. You will find it an excellent discipline. At various points of your career, you'll also make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all do and have done from time to time, especially when starting something new. What is important is you try not to make the same mistake twice. And if you do make mistakes, that your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. Another matter which it's important to emphasise, and we appreciate the significance of this much more now than we used to, is the maintenance of your physical and mental health and well-being. A lawyer who is unwell physically or mentally is not going to be as good a lawyer or as competent a lawyer as one who is well. It's very important because there may be, and I dare say will be, times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice has a tendency of becoming all-consuming and physically and mentally taxing. Now, one of the reasons for that is that lawyers are generally very well-motivated people and they want to work hard to get the best results for their clients, to resolve a legal issue, to go the extra mile, and all of that is honourable and much to be admired, but it can be exhausting. And you must work hard to keep your balance and to keep your eye out to ensure that your colleagues do so as well. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have from time to time, and I suspect sometimes still do, try to take a step back and recapture some perspective, or suggest gently to your colleagues that they do so as well. Very important. In this context, you should remember or know that the legal profession is a highly collegiate one, and in times of difficulty, the support of your professional peers will be invaluable. We also have the Law Society and the Bar Association, the two great professional organisations in this state, which are well attuned to providing assistance to their members, to encouraging particularly new members, and providing support for them and you as you launch on your careers. So can I say this in closing? The law is a wonderful profession. It's stimulating, it's challenging and satisfying, and it's populated by intelligent, committed and dynamic people such as yourselves. You should be proud to be a lawyer and of your achievements to date. You should remain proud to be a lawyer and uphold the values of which I have spoken. The law is a very important profession. It is the glue which feeds the rule of law and binds our society together as a mature, civilised democracy. So hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of Justice Rees, Justice Richmond, myself and all of our colleagues on the Supreme Court, I once again congratulate you on your mission and welcome you to the legal profession. Thank you. The court will now adjourn.
All stand. This honourable court is now adjourned. God save the Queen.